Hey, how's it going guys? ZDEyE here. So today I wanted to give you my review of the Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now I put in about, give or take 46 hours of it already, and I've pretty much experienced everything. I already have conquered all the territories. Not necessarily conquered, I should say befriended, but still, yeah. So I'm gonna get into some of the good points. I'm gonna get into a little bit of a mutual, like neutral, I should have actually said instead. And also, of course, we're gonna get into the bad sector. Now, I definitely want to mention up front, I'm not gonna be one of those reviewers just telling you, oh my god, it was an amazing game. It's like a 9 out of 10, 9 or 10 out of 10. No. This game does not deserve that, but I'm also not gonna say as an example that this game was bad. It really was not. So let's get into the good factors that I have, definitely needed to touch on. I definitely have enjoyed the territory arcs that are pretty great and in fact very interesting too. Let me explain. So in this game, you simply need to go to a territory of the area, and you have to befriend them. You have to make sure that you have a mutual trust, maybe even friendly relationships, of course. And so basically you see these little story arcs that are being unveiled. And I actually like almost all of them. Now, a few of them were not very memorable, but again, it's because there were so many, and why this game is so damn long too. It's important for us to understand this is not a good point. To get to those areas, we need some kind of traversal. And I'm so thankful, because the size of the map is ginormous, and that's actually negative. It's way too big. It should not have been this big. So in this case, what they have pretty much given us an option for is simply, marking the area that you want to go. Let's say you take your horse, maybe you go on a boat, and automatically you will get to that designated area that you want to go. And I really appreciate this. It's very, very nicely done, and I always constantly use it for the boat sections. I don't really use it on my horse because I feel like the horse only takes the road, and it just takes always the long route. I'd rather just manually actually go to my designated area. But on a boat, I just simply I just put down my controller, relax, and let the boat take me where I need to go. It just makes it much more relaxing and comfortable in this case. Now again, you might have considered, well, this is kind of boring, isn't it? Yeah, that's just the game's fault though, isn't it? Okay, so the other thing I definitely needed to touch on, I really liked Eivor, the main character. Now, I played as a male version because, I'm a male, and playing as a male, it just makes more sense in my case, because I can relate to him, obviously. And so I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely can say that it was not like a bland character compared to what from the Assassin's Creed Origins, by his name was Bayek. I definitely enjoy that too, though I just want to mention. But I just did not enjoy the character as I did more, because I definitely enjoyed the character far more in here in the Valhalla. Since it is important also to mention a few other characters, and your brother, right, your big brother by the name of Sigurd, he was actually interesting too, even though he really did not have much presence in this game. More or less just simply having at the beginning, at the end, and some parts in the middle as well. You were pretty much a lone wolf going around England and conquering, well, I shouldn't say conquering again, but befriending lords and citizens and stuff, making sure that you, like I mentioned already, have friendly ties with them. And of course, by the looks of things, this is already obvious, but the world, England itself, the map, the way that Ubisoft, the developers, have managed to craft here, it is simply gorgeous. They have outdone themselves in terms of the beauty. Now, regarding, of course, the rest of the characters, again guys, I'm kind of all over the place in here, but the rest of the characters I definitely have enjoyed, but again, we have to consider this. This world is big, so this means there will be a lot of characters, and a lot of those characters unfortunately were simply forgettable. Most of the time I don't even remember the one character's name, because I did not perhaps pay attention. And mind you, I definitely did pay attention. I was not one of those people skipping the story or cutscenes or whatnot. No, I do not do that in Assassin's Creed games or any story arc, selected games too. I pay attention to these things and I do enjoy them. And in here, the characters, like I mentioned, they could be bleak, they could be boring, some of them are interesting for sure. And it's just the issue here, there were just so many. Okay, now I want to get into a little bit neutral feeling. Now, it's not a good thing, I don't know if it's a bad thing either, I just put it there like between. So, skills unlocking. It is very simplistic, even though it does look a little bit overly complicated. All you really do is make sure you do something, right? You conquer this area, as an example, you clear out the enemies or whatever you have to do, be done with this quest. You unlock a skill point or 2 or 3 or so. And basically you put in the skills into this, you unlock, and that's it. You just constantly need to be unlocking, and that's how you pretty much level up. It is very simplistic, like I already mentioned. Everything has that, whatever it wants to give you, it will, and you have plenty of things to be looking forward to in the future, and diversities as well. Mind you, by the time as well at the near end game, I feel, at least to me, I felt very overpowered. And maybe because I over-leveled for some time, because I have been not always constantly going towards the main story progression. I did a few side quests in here as well. And by the way, whoever is going to tell me there are no side quests, you're full of it, because there is plenty of side quests. What the Ubisoft team, or I should say the developers, did a little bit kind of like hit them, so to say. But they are side quests in here, but they're not traditionally, like as an example, list of quests that requires you to do, and you find plenty of side quests that needs to be done. You have to explore, you have to find these people. Basically, you waste more time on the game that, just you burn more time. That's really it. That's the main goal that Ubisoft team has managed to do here, and they have successfully done it. So making sure that people waste more time on this game, that's not even exactly needed too. Now there's another kind of important thing to mention: abilities. Okay, so abilities are pretty much identical to Odyssey's, and now there are a few things that are kind of new or stuff like that. But this is again a neutral feeling of mine, and I don't know if this is necessarily good or bad. And by the way, yes, they do work. Some of them are pretty good, some of them are not very good. Again, it's just an okay feature, and I don't really mind it. They were the same thing in Odyssey as well. That's all I want to say about that part. Now the settlements. Upgrading the settlements like this has been marketed as well. And yeah, I don't know if it really works, because it is very simple. All you'll do is simply need to gather up a bunch of different materials, and then you upgrade individual building, houses and such. And yes, they do have a little bit of a different cosmetic look to them as soon as you do first upgrade or last upgrade or whatnot. And yeah, they do give you some kind of benefits. But again, it's not exactly like a substantial look, oh my god, you have to do this, because obviously you don't. Well, that was pretty much it in terms of the good and a little bit of a neutral. Now I'm gonna have to get into the bad. And mind you, there's quite a few bad, a lot of bad in fact. This game, my god, has a horrible pacing. It's all over the place with the story arc. It diversifies itself so far, you have no idea what is your end game goal. Now, at the beginning of the game, you pretty much have to go and, remember when I said it already, third time I'm gonna repeat myself, you have to befriend these territories or conquer them in whichever way you can. Make sure that they will be supportive of you and this settlement, the area that you live, right? Okay, that's fine. That's mainly the end goal. I understand that. But when I have to do so much, and in terms of the pacing, you can forget about these things and you just don't give a damn at the end of the day. And mind you, what makes this even worse? The grind. The The grinding is extremely painful in this game. Let me explain. Remember when I was telling you, for example, because this map is ginormous, that's a negative. Because the map is so big, there's always plenty of things not to do. All you do is go from point A to B and not see anything that you could do, because the environment is dead, but beautiful though. Now, dead in terms of what you can do in that place. All you'll do is really climb over it. You just see beauty of this world, but it's soulless. There's nothing to do. This just sucks about that part. Now again, there's always things that you could be repeating. It's very repetitive, and that's the problem. Like another main feature that this game introduces is the raiding. Raids, once you do it, 5 times you do it, 10 times you do it, they're very good. But when you do them too many times, it gets super repetitive, and they become the issue of this game. At the end of the day, I just did not bother raiding anymore. All I did is simply, ignore them. What am I gonna do with this raiding? Like, I collect some of the settlements that I go and raid, and basically I take their scavenge, basically, right? I kill anybody on site, that's it, I run away. If I have to, when I finish up with that raiding in that place, and I go to a different raid. And it's identical thing again and again and again and again. It is extremely repetitive, annoying, and it's boring. The game tends to drag very badly. Remember, because of the length and because of the sheer size of this game, it's not exactly well done in terms of its being controlled of a story. It's like I've said, it's all over the place with the story arc. It does tend to bloody be extremely grindy and tedious, and that's an issue. I have to mention this. Combat is actually bad. I don't know, many of you may say otherwise. In my personal opinion, it's not good. The combat is janky. You're not exactly sticking to the ground. All you'll do is simply float above the ground, and you'll just magically traverse through left and right and forward and center whenever you dodge or whenever you need to block or whatnot. It is not very well done. It is very unpolished, and just barely work has been done to it, or at least it felt like to me. Very little polish that has, but has great animations with the executions that you can pull off. Even though it does tend to get very repetitive, you keep seeing these different varieties of these animations of executions, but you just want to get into the combat, and it's just like, okay, I want to get this done, let me get out of here, I don't want to fight these guys anymore. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of fighting that you will need to do in Valhalla. And by the way, I have to mention this, stealth is not good, because I personally rather just simply going at it, going like head on to the enemies, kill them, because that is a faster route than actually going with the stealth. Because enemies are extremely unpredictable. When you have a cloak up, they spot you much more difficulty with, of course, but also when you want to go to some sector or you need to be discreet or quiet, there's no repercussions if you're being like very loud and just kill anything that you see that's moving. There's no repercussions. It really is none. And that is not a very good route to go with. Well, this is not a Ubisoft game if it would not have issues such as the lag, glitch, just bugs. It is plentiful in here. There are lots of problems. I kept getting stuck between that mountains and stuff, little hills that my horse could not jump over, little ledges. It was ridiculous. My character kept on getting stuck as well. As an example, Eivor, right? There's a cutscene and ends the cutscene into the gameplay. One moment it stays there and he just does not move. I have to wait a few more seconds. All I can do is pan out the camera and that's it. That's all I can do, move my camera. But Eivor is not moving. Even though I'm trying to hit like a melee button, I can hear him swinging. But on my screen, he's not moving. A couple of seconds more later, finally, he decides to move. There's a lot of issues. On top of that, this is very janky in terms of the combat. Because of the Ubisoft game, I don't know what the hell. Basically, I pressed this, a heavy hitting button, right? R2. I want to pull it off. For some reason, it's not registering. It just does not want to do it. And let me tell you one issue with this part: stamina. This is a big minus. Stamina does not work in Assassin's Creed games, at least not new Assassin's Creed games. it is very lazy implementation and it does not work here. Very badly done on top of that. The only reason it is here is just to introduce a challenge for the people. And what is the best way to go about it? And the easiest? Let's put in the stamina. Because let me tell you, Eivor can run forever. You go full sprint, he runs full sprint. If there's nothing in way, he just goes running. Where's the stamina for that? Of course, if there would have been for that as well, my god, the game would have, I would have finished this game in 70 hours. Because it is very irritating. On top of that, there is stamina though for your horse. So that kind of makes no sense. Eivor does not have a stamina for when he runs, sprints, sorry. But when he goes on a horse, this horse does have a stamina. You see what I mean? It's just so convoluted, so weird. Like, these decisions boggle my mind. Where the hell did they come up with? Combat stamina in this game does not work, and it should never been in here. Get rid of it. It's very badly implemented too. One other thing I definitely needed to mention, the negative. The control layout, the buttons, awful. This Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a little bit different in terms of the button layout as it did for the Origins and also Odyssey. Because the Valhalla, you're capable of wielding two weapons at once, and you can actually choose which weapon you want to use during the combat. But there's an issue. So let me explain it, because I'm playing on my PlayStation 4. Yes, not the PlayStation 5. I did not get it yet. Assuming it might come tomorrow though. So anyway, basically I want to wield my left arm axe as an example. I have equipped at the moment. Just imagine that. L1, I press the button, it does not swing. What does he do? Instead, he decides to parry, because that's how it is fixated. Anytime you press the L1 button, he wants to parry instead. What you require to do is hold the L1 button, and that's a problem, because you have to mash the buttons on the other side for you to be able to swing your axe or your sword or your weapons, whatever. But on the other hand, the other button, you have to hold it. So what does this mean if I want to dual wield it? I have to hold the other while I mash the other side? It makes no sense. It is not very well done. The button layout does not work here. And I think it's because there's just not enough button components on a controller, because introducing dual wielding into Assassin's Creed games, and mind you, they're already using a lot of buttons at this point, still I think they could have done a better job with the dueling system. I actually think they might have to get rid of it completely, because it just does not work, unfortunately. At least that's what I believe. Guys, making a comparison, that's perhaps will be my more special video I will for the Valhalla and some certain other game, because this game just simply does not, like I mentioned, does not deserve like a 9 out of 10 out of 10. Hell, it doesn't even deserve an 8. I've seen so many reviews out there talking about it, just giving it praise, and I don't see it. I truly do not. My opinion, Origins was a far better Assassin's Creed game than Valhalla. In my opinion, Odyssey was a far better game than Valhalla. Yes, I do believe that both of these games, even though they were having their own problems too. I do not deny that. As an example, Odyssey had a locking system with the leveling system, right? You could not go and do this quest because you were under-leveled. That's the problem. That's a minus. In Valhalla, there are plenty of other issues that significantly loses the appeal, at least to me. Yeah. Alright, well then guys, that's all I got for today. I'm giving this game a 7 out of 10, a solid 7. It definitely is a good game, but no means of it being a great game. Thank you again so much for watching. Like and subscribe. See you guys all. Have a wonderful day.